Welcome back to GAA Fan TV. My name is Aaron. This is the live watch-along stream for the Dublin and Meath game and Derry and Monaghan. Two big games going on at the one time. So we're here, as always, to run through the game, run through the action live as it's happening, give my reaction to both games. And yeah, look, I mean, the Dublin and Meath rivalry certainly isn't what it once was. Hence the fact that this game isn't actually on TV. It's on GAA Go. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this game up and running here. But yeah, you know, interesting. It starts at 4:30 actually, does it? Oh, I thought it started at 4. Oh, there you go. We're a bit early. We're a bit early. I didn't realize that. I thought this started at 4. Sharon says here, hello. I like your intro. It's very catchy. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. What can you say? Does the job. All the rest. Yeah, actually, I thought this game was starting at 4, so I'm after realising I'm a bit early now. But I think the Derry and Monaghan game is starting in the next couple of minutes, so at least we'll get to, I suppose, zone in on that game for the opening half an hour or so. I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll get the team news up on the screen for the Dublin game, first of all. So this is the Dublin team that has been announced. No late changes from what I can see so far, but I'll certainly keep you all updated as we go along. We've got David O'Hanlon in goal, Owen Merchant, Michael Fitzsimons and Lee Gannon make up the full-back line. John Small, Johnny Cooper and James McCarthy make up the half-back line. In midfield, pairing up Brian Fenton and Tom Lahiff, Sean Bugler, Brian Howard, Kieran Kilkenny. In behind, Cormac Costello, Con O'Callaghan and Dean Rock. Yeah, look, you wouldn't really have too many surprises. Obviously, Davy Byrne with a big injury there, so he'll be out for the season, I believe. Interesting with the goalkeeper. He's, you know, I would have assumed that Evan Comerford is the number one, but it does now appear that Desi Farrell is now going with David O'Hanlon quite a lot more. I mean, he went with David O'Hanlon for the last game as well, for the Wexford game. So a little bit interesting there, to say the least. This is the Meath team there. So you've got Harry Hogan in goal. You've got, I have to nearly zoom in here to actually see the names of the players, but you've got Robin Clark, Conor McGill, Owen Harkin making up the full-back line, James McEntee, Donald Kyogan and Cathal Hickey make up the half-back line, Brian Menton and Ronan Jones in the middle, Jason Scully, Killian O'Sullivan and Jack O'Connor in behind, Jordan Morris, Thomas O'Reilly and Joey Wallace. It'd be interesting to see Jack O'Connor of Meath. He's a player that has done quite well in the last couple of games. So he'll be an interesting player to keep an eye on. I haven't seen him play. Don't know a whole deal about him. So he'll be an interesting player, certainly, to keep an eye on. And obviously, in terms of this Derry and Monaghan game as well, I mean, this is going to be a huge, huge game for both counties. I mean, can Derry reach their first Ulster final since 2011? It's been a long time waiting for Derry fans. It sure has. And for Monaghan, I mean, a big opportunity, obviously, for them as well to get to Munster or to get to an Ulster final. Obviously, having been beaten by Tyrone in the final last year, they'll certainly want to make, you know, they'll certainly want to bounce back and obviously get the Munster or the Ulster title and all the rest. But yeah, feel free to let me know your predictions and comments down below and all the rest. Sharon says there, is Paddy Small back? Yeah, I don't think he is. I think he does have an injury there at the minute, I believe. But I'm not too sure if Desi really fancies him there at the minute. I'm not sure. Didn't really feature too much throughout the league, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one most certainly. But it is look, it's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, the Dublin and Meath rivalry, you know, it hasn't quite been the same sort of in the last, you know, 10 years or so. It's a rivalry that definitely hasn't gone to plan, you know, in terms of entertainment value, all the rest. You know, obviously, Dublin and Meath games down the years. I mean, growing up when you were going to a Dublin and Meath game, it was a huge occasion. It was a huge sort of ordeal. Everyone was speaking about it, discussing it. It was the talk of the town. And unfortunately, over the last 10 years, that rivalry has gone. You know, the rivalry very much isn't there anymore because Dublin have been very far ahead and Meath have certainly regressed quite a bit as well. You know, and obviously they've had, you know, little peaks and moments here and there where it looks like Meath was going to make a return. And although Dublin have had certainly an underwhelming year by their standards, You would have to say that Dublin, they are the clear favourites here. They really, really are. Make no mistake about that. We'll get the team news up on the screen for the Derry and Monaghan game, which is just about to throw in there in the next couple of minutes. We've got the marching band going around. Banty McInerney watching on with his cap on there as well. Just needs a pair of sunglasses to go with it and be looking very fashionable indeed. This is the Derry side. You've got Oren Lynch, Chrissy McKay, Brendan Rodgers, Conor McCluskey making up the full-back line, Conor Doherty, Garrett McKinless, and Padraig McGrogan there. Conor Glass and Emma Bradley in midfield. Although I think has there been a late change there? Maybe there has. You've also got Paul Cassidy, Shay Downey, and Ethan Doherty making up the half-forward line. Benny Heron, Shane McGuigan, and Niall Loughlin making up the full-forward line. For Monaghan there, you've got Rory Beggan, Kieran Duffy, Conor Boyle, Ryan Wiley, Ryan McInespy, Desi Ward, Conor McCarthy. The midfield of Darren Hughes and Noel Kearns, Andrew Woods, Kieran Hughes, Mihal Bannigan, and then Jack McCarran, Gary Mohan, and Conor McManus make up the full forward line. So, just looking at both teams there, the matchups are going to be interesting when you look at player for player. If you're judging off the team sheets, you could have Shane McGuigan going up against Conor Boyle there. That'll be a tasty one, make no mistake about that. Who's going to be on Conor McManus? Could that be Chrissy McCaig? Or, does Conor McCluskey, Brendan Rodgers do a job there? I'm not sure, but that is going to be the big one, really. But I think what we have seen from Monaghan in the last year or so, in my opinion, is that they are, very much now not so reliant on Conor McManus. They have other players who've come in there. Obviously, Gary Mohan, very tall, rangy player, strong as an ox, very hard to dispossess. When he's on the ball, Jack McCarran, as we've seen, his league form last year and the performances that he put in, even this year as well, and he was very good against Down. So, for Monaghan, it's going to be interesting. All right, I'd imagine Derry will get a lot of men behind the ball and probably play in a similar way to how they played against Tyrone. They really will try suffocate the space. They won't allow Jack McCarran and Conor McManus get too much space in field, and probably just pick them off in the counter-attack in a similar fashion to how they did against Tyrone. And I am going to back Derry to win this one. We'll get a score prediction up on the screen as well. What we go with? I think they're going to narrowly do it. I think it's going to be close. But I'm going to go with a scoreline of I do think it's going to be quite low scoring, to be honest. Just because I think you will see both teams be quite defensive at times. So that's a prediction I'm going to go for there. 3-point win for Derry, in my opinion. I think after a big result against Tyrone, after that huge victory, the confidence that will give the team, the players, the fans, everyone else, I think they'll be absolutely 110% up for this one. Monaghan, look, they have a lot of very talented players, as we know, in the likes of Conor McManus, Jack McCarran, obviously Darren Hughes around the middle as well. But, for myself personally, I do think they can be got at. I think they struggle to close out games. They struggle in game management. And they're just not quite the full article, in my opinion. Like, they're a good, as Eamon Dunphy would say, they're a good team, but not a great team. And I think this Derry team could potentially be on the cusp of something, but they do need to go out and win. They do need to go out and back that up. So yeah, Noel says, let's see, can Dublin win? And that is the big question, isn't it? And it's been a decent weekend for myself, I have to say so. Liverpool won the FA Cup yesterday, which I've a very bad hangover, I'm not going to lie. So bear with me for that one. Man City didn't win today as well, which is always a positive. So you can't really go wrong. You can't really go wrong. And I'm expecting Dublin to continue what has been a very lovely weekend so far and do the business against Meath. But I do hope it's competitive. Look, as someone who makes content on YouTube and all the rest and trying to grow the channel, the last thing really I want is Dublin to be 20, 25 points up at half time like they have been in previous years, because people will switch off, people will lose interest, and I'll lose interest, and it's not really entertaining then. So yeah, the last thing anyone wants is for it to not be competitive. But I would expect Dublin to to do the job. I mean, something similar even to the Kerry Cork game would be quite nice, where, you know, Meath put it up to the Dubs, they make it tough for them, but Dublin just pull away maybe in the final 15 minutes or so. But yeah, we will get a score prediction up on the screen there in a couple of brief moments as well. But we are watching the Derry and Monaghan game as well, so that's just started there on BBC. Derry dispossessed on the ball there early on. Monaghan on the ball here early on as well. So we'll be trying to watch both games as they're going on. Be obviously very tough. I'll certainly have more of an interest in the Dublin and Meath game once that starts at 4:30. But we will keep a close eye on the Derry and Monaghan game most certainly as well. Monaghan going very direct here early on, running at Derry, but you can see Derry very well set up defensively there. Bit of a wayward shot. Flies wide there. Number 12, who, forgive me for not knowing his name off the top of my head. I will find that information out though. But yeah, he flies the effort wide of the target. Micheál Bannigan there. So still 0-0 so far here early on. Let's see, can Derry do something on the ball quite early on? I am expecting the Derry Monaghan game probably not to be the greatest watch. You know, it mightn't be the greatest game, but to be fair, both sides are really going at each other here so far. Derry on the attack. Here is Mr. Shane McGuigan. Lovely bit of play. Space opens up. Is he going to kick the point? He is. That's a lovely score. Derry with the opening score of the game. And it was the late substitute there who's got the score. Derry off the mark early on here. And a lovely finish indeed from Niall Toner. Great finish there. Emma Bradley obviously substituted, or he was a late change, so Emma Bradley out of the side. Niall Toner comes in there. Monaghan in possession there. Conor Boyle finding himself way up the field. Bit of a challenge there coming in from Chrissy McCaig, and this probably be a handy one, you'd have to say, for Conor McManus. It was Jack McCarron on the ball there, who got dispossessed by Chrissy McCaig. Oh, it wasn't a free, actually. It was a turnover, obviously over carrying. So fair. And you can see, I thought Chrissy McCaig there originally was given out, but he was actually sort of fist pumping the air in delight there. Niall says Dublin need a hard game. Yeah, look, it'd be nice to see them pushed. It'd be nice to see them tested. I do think there are a lot of vulnerabilities in this Dublin team, and I do think Meath will, they will give Dublin a lot of problems, in my opinion. It's just whether Meath can stick with Dublin for large parts of the game. Derry have started very fast here. That's a lovely effort. It's not gone over the bar. It hasn't. Wide there. Lovely effort from Shay Downey, but it flies wide of the pitch. Derry definitely getting a lot of possession, you'd have to say, sort of inside the, in Monaghan's half back line, full back line. They've been opening them up quite easily at times, and they've certainly took the game to Monaghan. What can Monaghan do in response? They need to get their opening score of the game. Lovely bit of play into one of the late changes there, Shane Carey. Does that flash over the bar? It doesn't. It goes wide. Stays as a 1-point game. Derry fans watching on in happiness so far. So far, so good, they say. And yeah, I think it will be low scoring. Be interesting. Will there be goals? I fancy Derry to get a goal. I'm not too sure if Monaghan will. Other than against Dublin, Monaghan haven't exactly been free scoring in terms of goals this year, from what I can remember. Derry winning the kick out. Great bit of possession there from Monaghan's midfield in Darren Hughes there, and Monaghan win the turnover. So lovely bit of work around the middle. Niall Toner caught in the middle there, and brilliant bit of play. Or Conor Doherty, I should say, caught in possession. Lovely bit of work there from Monaghan. I mean, fantastic turnover there from Ryan McInespy. And Shane Carey going in there as well. So an interesting game so far. On Far says, nice to see the rebirth of Derry football. They've been hiding for a long, long time. They certainly have. Just one win in the Ulster Championship since 2011 before the Tyrone game. So they really have been in the doldrums. I mean, they've had some difficult draws in the past couple of years. Getting Armagh Donegal the first time out, not exactly easy, and getting Tyrone the first day out as well. Tough draw. Derry have had a lot of tough draws, to be fair to them, but Ulster is just very competitive. It's very hard to win a game there, let alone win an Ulster Championship. But look, they definitely got their house in order. They've got one of the best coaches in the country, in my opinion. They've got, one of the best midfielders in the country in Conor Glass. Shane McGuigan's a top-class forward. Some brilliant defenders. They have a really, really good team, and they really are, for me, dark horses for the All-Ireland. I think so anyways. The matter will be, can they keep up that levels of consistency? And if they fall behind in games, how will they respond? Because they're not exactly a very experienced team, So in terms of mentality, that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if they go 4 or 5 points behind in the game. What's their response like? Because they haven't really been in that situation too often, They haven't played that many big games in the past couple of years, So that'll be the interesting one. But yeah, defensively very well set up here at the minute. Monaghan just struggling really to make anything happen. You can see Derry just suffocating the space very much as I expected, but they are on the attack here. Brilliant block, but it nearly falls to Gary Mohan. It was nearly a goal chance really from absolutely nothing, but as expected, Derry playing very deep. And I think Derry are very well aware as well that if they keep the ball away from Conor McManus, keep the ball away from Jack McCarron, that's half the battle in terms of Monaghan's forward line, because they don't have too many natural shooters that can kick from 30, 40 meters. In my opinion, Darren Hughes maybe can kick a couple of scores. Haven't seen enough of Gary Mohan, to be perfectly honest, to give an accurate sort of assumption on him. But look, they have got a bit of space at times in Derry's defensive line. So if they can keep sort of opening them up, there might just be an opportunity. There just might be. But they need to get a score here. Just a 1 point game so far. Not a lot happening, but this is Ulster football true and true. This is what we came to expect, and this is what we love about the Ulster Football Championship. Nothing like seeing a team get every man behind the ball and just make the game not much of a spectacle. But that is the way Derry are going to play, and that's the way that Rory Gallagher knows, obviously, from his time working with Jim McGuinness. So it very much is his mantra. That's the way he played with Fermanagh as well. So yeah, but wayward pass there from Darren Hughes, and Derry on the ball again. Monaghan just not quite out of here so far. Few wayward passes, struggling to sort of get in behind Derry. I think what Derry need to do, though, is when they have the ball, is they need to take advantage of this and start to build up a bit of a lead. Because when you start to build up a lead, you have something to defend. Then still only a 1 point game here at the minute. So, but yeah, you see Garrett McKinless on the ball there, very, very calm in possession. Shane McGuigan offloading the ball inside, calls the mark there, and you would expect McGuigan to slot this one over the bar and make it a 2 point game. Dublin match starting in about 20 minutes. I thought it started at 4. So what do I know? But yeah, watching Derry and Monaghan here at the minute, anyways. And a lovely score there from Mr. Shane McGuigan, and Derry build up a 2 point lead. And 10 minutes in, Monaghan yet to score, and they really haven't had that many chances. It's not like they've been kicking wides or anything like that. Derry have just got a lot of good blocks in, a lot of big challenges in, and they've made life very difficult for this Monaghan side. You can see there with the fans as well, obviously, at this game. in the athletic grounds. Derry, from what it looks anyway, have the majority of the fans there, and obviously, great to see Derry back in the Ulster Championship and back alive and kicking as well. And it'll be, they're definitely a team. If I'm not much of a betting man myself, but if I was going to bet, if I was going to take a gamble on something, this Derry side you might do. That's a lovely bit of play there. But it's well wide of the target there from Mr. Conor McManus. As I was saying, he is one of those players that can kick from that type of range. But on this time, or on this particular moment in time, his radar was off. Derry going on the attack now with Benny Heron on the ball. Shane McGuigan picking it up now as well. Derry just trying to get in behind Monaghan, make it a 3-point game, which, would all of a sudden, even in a game like this where scores are hard to come by, that's a bit of a lead. Lovely bit of run and play. Derry might be in for a goal here, and it's in the back of the net. What a lovely finish there from Garrett McKinless. Rory Gallagher jumping around like a madman. That's the reaction right there when you see a roast dinner on a Sunday. Wonderful stuff there from Mr. Garrett McKinless. Cut Monaghan's defence open like a knife through butter. Sent them absolutely packing, and Derry have a 5-point lead after 11 minutes. The Derry train is alive and well, like a speed train, like a steam train running through there. Shane Carey was back, had his arm around the shoulder. You were thinking, is he going to drag him down and maybe give away the penalty? But Garrett McKinless kept going. Wasn't a strong enough challenge in the back of the net. And Derry build up a 5-point lead. Gary Mohan goes down the other end, has his effort fall short. But I do think Monaghan have been awarded a free here, so they should be able to get back in the game. Lovely, lovely finish there from Garrett McKinless. He was excellent. He was absolutely excellent against Tyrone. And yeah, excellent there again, marching forward. And that's what Derry are going to do. They're going to wait for the opportunities on the counter attack. And they're going to break with pace. And it's, watching this Derry team, it's very reminiscent of Donegal under Jim McGuinness. It really, really is. It's very, very similar. Even that kind of goal, you've shades of when Donegal beat the Dubs in 2014 of that. So, but yeah, Monaghan get their first score of the game there. Jack McCarron putting it over from a relatively simple free, just a couple of meters in front of the goal there. So Monaghan do respond with a point in their first point of the game. Nothing like a good cold beer to cure the hangover. Monaghan on the attack again here. They might be able to get a second. It does look like that goal has woken them up a little bit, but it's another poor wide. And yeah, Monaghan's shooting has just been a little bit off. So far in this game, it was the wing-back Ryan McInespy getting forward there who put it wide. So not ideal to say the least there. Dublin and Meath starting in about 15 minutes there, live on GAA Go, not even on TV, which is certainly an unusual one, isn't it? It probably shows how far the the Dublin and Meath rivalry has fallen in the last 5-10 years or so, that it's not even on TV. No Leinster Championship games shown on national television up until the final. It really does show, unfortunately, how far, or how much of a less interest there is in the Leinster Football Championship. Even watching the Kildare Westmeath game earlier, I was watching some of it. It didn't really look like a lot of fans there, to be perfectly. There was, a lot of fans did go and travel up, but attendances wise, it's just not quite there. And that's why, for myself personally, I do think, the Leinster final should be in Croke Park, most definitely. But I do think they should, for Leinster semis, they should start making use of the other grounds, whether it be in Newbridge or a Cusack Park, all the rest, because they're not bringing in the attendances anyway. So what exactly have they got to lose? They'd actually probably get more attendances if they start moving the moving the Leinster Championship around to more grounds and whatnot. But yeah, Monaghan with their second point of the game there. Jack McCarron from another free. So Monaghan have responded okay with those 2 points. Rory Gallagher will be a little bit disappointed by the indiscipline of Derry there. They maybe just lost their way a little bit. Wonderful catch there from Conor Glass from the kick out there. And to have that outlet as well for Derry, I mean, you've got a professional AFL player very much in your midfield there who's excellent at catching those high balls. So he's a brilliant outlet from those kickouts. We'll get a prediction up on the screen for the Dublin and Meath game. What am I going to go with? It's a hard one to predict the score here because I can see Meath getting goals because Dublin do have a couple of defensive issues. They have had a lot of defensive issues this year. Obviously conceded 11 goals in the National Football League in the 6 games, or in the 7 games, I should say. So it hasn't been great from a Dublin perspective, especially defensively. But I think the score I'm going to go with will be, I think something like this: Dublin 119, Meath 210. I feel like and I can't see Meath kicking a lot of points. Because they don't have, like, Jordan Morris is obviously a great player. Jack O'Connor is obviously a player who's come in there, but yeah. Sharon says, I'm surprised RT are not showing Dublin and Meath. Noel says, if you could pay in people, people might go. Not too sure what you mean there, mate, but yeah, look, it should be on TV. Disappointing it's not on TV, but that's just how it is, That's unfortunately just how it goes. But at least it is on GAA Go, because for a while there during the week, there wasn't really much talk about this being on GAA Go. And I knew I wasn't going to be going to this to the game this weekend because I was out yesterday watching the Liverpool game, all the rest. So a little bit hungover, let's say the least, about that. So yeah. But yeah, that's the score I'm going to go with anyway. Dublin 119, Meath 210 is going to be my score prediction there. I do think Meath will open up Dublin's defence because we've seen them do that. Dublin's man-to-man game at the back is a bit of a worry for me. Obviously, no Davy Byrne as well. So, you've got a couple of new lads, obviously, who've come into the Dublin's defence this year. New goalkeeper as well. So there are some vulnerabilities in there, in my opinion. But I do think Dublin will have enough and they will pull away quite comfortable in the end. 6-point victory is what I am going for right there. Derry kicked their third point of the game. They build back up to a 4-point lead. Lovely kick score there by Mr. Shane McGuigan right there. And Derry looking good, it has to be said, at the minute. Loose marking there for Monaghan. Didn't get tight enough at all to Shane McGuigan as he was on the ball. And he's able to comfortably slot that one over. 4-point game in favour of the Oakleaf County. And the Farney men certainly have to find the response and need to get into the game. No points from play so far. Derry very, very well organised. You can see that. You can see the 2 lines there. There really isn't much space for Monaghan to move into. They just need to move the ball a little bit more, maybe a bit more movement. But this is going very much as I expected here so far, it must be said. Conor Boyle on the ball now as Derry march forward. You can see the wing backs and even their full back there just getting forward just to try and create something. And problem is for Monaghan is they don't have too many, natural shooters there to back themselves. You're relying on getting the ball to Jack McCarron and Conor McManus. You're very much relying on them to do something. But here come Monaghan marching forward. That looks over. It's hit the post. Looked over the bar there for a minute, but it isn't. And Derry have the ball. That's a bit of bad luck there from a Monaghan perspective. It was a lovely venture forward there from Desi Ward, I think it was. Ends up hitting the post. Breaks back out. Gary Mohan can't get on the end of it. Conor Glass sweeps up there. And Derry on possession and just very much seem to have the spring in their step there at the minute. On Fire says King Khan will be the difference today. Again, he's a machine. Absolutely, mate. He's been, he's been exceptional so far this year, hasn't he? He's been absolutely brilliant since. He was brilliant in that Wexford game, but he's obviously, you can see the difference in the Dublin team when he's playing. Just that outlet that they can kick into. Drops Kilkenny can play a bit further back then as well. So he's an excellent footballer, and when he's in form, I felt like he wasn't really in form last year. He had a quiet enough year from his standards. So once he's in form and once he's taken, Dublin are just a different team without him. Sharon says, do you think Dublin will need to start fast? Well, absolutely, because I think from a Dublin perspective and what Desi Farrell will want is, they won't want a situation where Meath start believing that they're in the game. And, obviously Dublin have started fast against Meath for the last, 2 years. Started very fast against them in 2020, blew them away. Obviously blew them away in the first half last year as well. And obviously took their foot off the gas. But yeah, Dublin will want to start fast, definitely, to put the pressure on Meath. And considering that, Meath, in my opinion, as I've said before, this Meath team, I do think they have a bit of a soft underbelly. I don't really know if Andy McEntee's the guy for me, for Meath at the minute. I'm not too sure who else you'd bring in there, but I'm just not too sure, really. Like, I do think this will be his last year. I do think they have a lot of good young lads in the team, and obviously there's, they had the minor success, all the rest. So they've got a good couple of players coming through the ranks at the minute, but I do think the mentality is a problem there, because once they go 4 or 5 points down and hit a couple of wides, their heads just drop. I mean, even in that 2020 game, and even the year before as well, they kicked 4 points, I think, in the game in total. Just nowhere near good enough, for senior championship, and especially for, big games like that. Nothing much really happening in this game. It's in the Derry and Monaghan game, very much the same pattern of play that has been happening, really. Monaghan, having all the possession, having all the ball, but just really struggling to get in behind Derry, to create scores, to create chances. And Derry have been really, really well organised. You could actually argue the point that they've been even better defensively in this game, even in the Tyrone game. And they were brilliant in the Tyrone game as well, don't get me wrong, but they really haven't allowed much from Monaghan in this game at all. We're 23 minutes in, and Monaghan yet to kick a point from play. And that really does tell you the situation for Monaghan and the problem that they find themselves in there at the minute. It will be interesting as well to see the qualifier draw tomorrow as well. Be curious to know what game some of you lads will be excited to see or excited to know. You'll obviously have one of Derry or Monaghan going in there. You'll have one of Dublin or Meath going in there as well. So should be interesting. Derry on the attack again, and it's a second goal. They cut Monaghan completely open there. Monaghan's defence, I mean, that was just way too easy there. It's a lovely finish from Benny Heron, but he had so much time. It just looked like it was a long ball. Conor Boyle gets completely caught. Shane McGuigan offloads it into Benny Heron, who just puts it in. It was Niall Toner who caught the ball actually ahead of Conor Boyle, who completely, caught an absolute dreamland there. Plays it into Benny Heron, who just rifles it into the back of the net. And Derry are cruising at the minute. They're absolutely cruising. 7 points in front, 2-3 to 2 points. Rory Gallagher watching on the sideline. I'm not too sure what the whole this is about all the time that he always does, but the less said about that, the better. Noel says, is that game over? No, we're only 24 minutes in, so plenty of time yet for Monaghan still to come back into the game, but Derry have just kicked another point there again. So, I mean, it was already an uphill task for Monaghan when they were a goal down, but now they're 8 points adrift of this Derry team, and they've really struggled to get Conor McManus, Jack McCarron involved in the game. They've just struggled to create chances, and they haven't been nowhere near clinical enough in front of goal. It's a wonderful run here. Monaghan just trying to be direct, trying to make things happen, plays it into Jack McCarron, who loses possession, but the referee calls it back for a free in. Foul from Chrissy McCaig there, I think. So, didn't really see a lot in that myself, to be perfectly honest there. The Wanderer says, come on to fuck Derry. Yeah, the Derry fans will certainly be watching on in, in a lot of happiness at the minute, the way this game has gone. 7 points in front. Monaghan just really struggling to get into the game. I think everyone very much expected Derry to play the way that they've played, but I didn't expect Monaghan to really struggle to get their forwards involved, and that has been the problem. We're about a couple of minutes away from the Dublin and Meath game throwing in as well. Shame that both of these games are on the same time because, I've only got one set of eyes and I'm going to be, really trying to watch both games here. But at least we've got a good bit of the first half between Derry and Monaghan as we get close to half time. 26 minutes in, Derry 2-4 to 3 points to the good. Jack says Tony Kelly on 4. Yeah, I'm not watching the Clare Limerick game at the minute because you've got Derry, Monaghan, Dublin and Meath on, but haven't checked the score. But by the sounds of that, it sounds like Clare are going well by the sounds of that, and that would be an interesting one. Sharon says, yeah, I'll definitely have Derry as favourites for Ulster if they win today. Do you know what? I think I would as well. And I backed Donegal to win the Ulster Championship before a ball was kicked. But, I knew Derry had these kind of performances in them. I knew they had the players, but I thought maybe it was a year early. Getting Tyrone in the first game was very tough. But you'd have to say they really have stepped it up a lot more than I thought. Jack says too many games on at the same time. Yeah, there really is way too many games on at the one time, but I'm sure I will watch that game later. It's obviously on RT, so I'll be sure to watch that one anyway. Make no mistake about that. But yeah, Monaghan just struggling completely here to do much in the game. Let's see what Monaghan can do. Dispossessed again on the ball there. Micheál Bannigan. Derry marching forward. You can see what Derry are doing when they have the ball. Like, they haven't had possession that much in the game, but they're just, when they get it, they're offloading it very quickly. They're breaking with pace, and they just look really, really up for it. You see Rory Gallagher down on the sideline, cheering everything on, jumping around, going mad. And, that reflects onto this Derry team, in my opinion, because you just see the energy and intensity that they play with. It's just, it's very, very exciting to watch, it must be said. McKinless marching forward again. Derry opening up Monaghan, who are being cut open at will. And that is a brilliant, brilliant score there as Derry kick their fifth point of the game. Niall Loughlin with the score there. Lovely bit of running. Creates the space. Slots it over the bar. And Derry retake their 8-point lead. A lot of work for Monaghan to do. A lot of work to do for Banty McEnany, because certainly at the minute, it must be said that it hasn't really gone according to plan at all for Monaghan. Just watching Dublin and Meath, the national anthem's going on there, all the rest. So we will get the Dublin and Meath score up there in a couple of minutes as well. But, fascinated watching this Derry game, it must be said. Very fascinated watching this game at the minute. Shane says, if Derry get through Ulster, they could be in an All-Ireland semi-final, especially if they get a favourable draw in the quarter-final. They really could be, it's very, very possible, and even looking at Derry, like I think, when you look at those qualifier draws and you think of some of the teams that are going to get knocked out in the qualifiers, or some of the potential games, you could have thrown against Mayo. You've got Armagh there. You've got a lot of tough teams in those qualifiers. Looking at it at the minute, I think Derry might be the closest challenger to Kerry. They really might be. They have a lot of work to do still. And as I said before, can they keep up this level of consistency? Experience isn't quite there. So, the mentality, we're not sure yet. Do you know what I mean? We're just not sure yet in terms of, if they go behind or when the going gets tough, how are they going to respond? Because that's really when good teams are made. You think of the great Dublin teams when the going got tough, against Mayo on those finals, against Kerry when they were down to 14 men, they stood up and they delivered and they found an outcome. So it will be interesting. It will be interesting, most definitely. Dublin and Meath has started there now. Dublin in possession of the ball early on there with James McCarthy going up against Cillian O'Sullivan. You'd be expecting Dublin to start fast, which they certainly are here at the minute, and that looks like it's going to go over the bar, and it is. It's a lovely kicked score there from Sean Bugler, or from Tom Lahiff. Dublin with the opening score of the game, and just as that, Derry are on the attack there, and that looks like a foul. Is that a penalty, or was it outside? That'll be an intriguing one there. There's so much to watch here. You take your eye off it for a minute and all of a sudden you've missed something. It looked like it was Benny Heron marching forward there. Was it outside, or Shane McGuigan? Was it? Yeah, it looks like it was just outside there. You would expect Shane McGuigan to certainly slot this one over the bar. Monaghan there with a score. Meath on the attack here, trying to run at Dublin. Dublin able to defend it well. I think what we'll do is we'll keep the Derry Monaghan score up there for now until half time. But yeah, Derry 2-6-4 to the good there at the minute. Dublin on the attack here, just keeping possession, being calm on the ball. Will be interesting to see Meath's approach. I mean, Meath have gone toe to toe with Dublin in the last couple of seasons, and that's kind of been to their detriment, really, because Dublin have just opened them up very, very easily. But yeah, lovely score there from Kieran Kilkenny. Dublin building up a 2-point lead, only 2 minutes in. I think it's very, very important for me to stick with the Dubs, because if Meath don't stick with the Dubs and Dublin start to build up a lead, 4, 5, 6 points early on, we've seen Dublin comfortably beat Meath in the past. And as I was saying before, we all want a contest. Even as a Dublin fan, we want it to be a contest. But here come Meath on the attack here. Jordan Morris going 1v1 with Mick Fitzsimons. Oh, he puts it wide. That was a huge chance for Meath. Jordan Morris gets beyond Mick Fitzsimons, but puts it wide. And that is the problem with Dublin's defence, because they do go man-to-man at the back. They leave so much space there. Mick Fitzsimons gets turned inside and out, and Jordan Morris puts it wide. Huge chance there for Meath. But that is, if they're going to win the game, this is how. That's how they're going to win it, is by getting direct ball into Jordan Morris, Joey Wallace, and trying to run at that Dublin defence, because they have been vulnerable. Marcella says, what channel is it on? The Derry Monaghan game is on BBC. Dublin Meath on GAA Go. So, yeah, they're the channels for the games. Shane B says, it wouldn't shock me if Derry and Kildare get through their provinces, but I think Dublin will win Leinster. Yeah, Dublin should have enough to still come through Leinster, in my opinion. But look, Kildare will certainly take a lot of positives from obviously their league campaign, and obviously a big win for them over Westmeath today as well. Westmeath certainly did give them a couple of problems, and it was it was close enough for large parts, but you would have to say that Kildare in the end just about doing enough to come through that one. Dublin 3 points to the good now. Just 4 minutes in. 3 points to 0. Meath, need to stick with Dublin really, because if it starts to become a 5, 6, 7 point game early on, then it's going to be very it's already an uphill task, but it could be a long day for them. Lovely score there from Darren Hughes. I think that's Monaghan's first point from play. Comes right on the stroke of half time. First time really that Derry's defense looked a little, well, I wouldn't say shaky, but opened up there. But a good point. Stays as a 7 point game at the minute in favour of Derry. A lot of work to do for Monaghan in the second half. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, smash the like button, subscribe if you could, helps the channel grow. Do a number of watch-along streams, podcasts, match reactions, all the rest. And of course, there will be a match reaction out for both the Dublin Meath and Derry Monaghan games as well, a little bit later on. I may watch Clare Limerick as well, and depending on how that game goes, we might do a video on that as well. Cormac Costello marching forward, puts it over the bar. Dublin have certainly had their shooting boots on, and certainly look in the mood here at the minute. They're 4 points to nil up here after 6 minutes. Lovely kicked score from Cormac Costello, and the gulf in quality between the two teams very much on show. That's an absolutely outrageous point there from Shane McGuigan. 2-7 to 5 now to the good as Derry just maintaining that 8 point lead, it must be said, at the minute. Shane says level at half time in the hurling. Clare 15 points to Limerick's 112. Be very, very intrigued to see how that one goes. I think Clare are a very underrated team, in my opinion. They might just be the second best team in the country now. When you see Waterford kind of falling off the boil a little bit, so it's going to be interesting. Going to be an intriguing one, most certainly, to keep an eye on that one. Meath in possession, 7 minutes in. They've struggled massively to get scores against Dublin down the years. They scored 2-13 against Dublin last year, but the majority of that came in the second half. Kicked 9 points against Dublin in 2020, 4 points against Dublin in 2019. So they've struggled to get scores against the Dubs. It's been a problem for Meath. They had that early goal chance from Jordan Morris, but yeah, that has been a problem for them. But in possession of the ball at the minute, just being patient. No need to rush it. We just watched a score there from Conor McManus, 2-7 to 6 points. Monaghan trying their best to stick into the game as we approach halftime. I'm really not too sure what that hand spitting thing is all about. That, a bit of a bad habit there from Mr. Gallagher, but yeah. Noel says Dublin will need to do something about the back line before big games. No, that's exactly the point, isn't it? You could, if that's David Clifford, that was in the back of the net. If that's Ryan O'Donoghue, it's in the back of the net. So, Darren McCurry, he would have put it in the back of the net as well. So, against the big teams, that is a worry. But Meath, yeah, just a bit sloppy in possession there. Poor pass. And Dublin have men up here now. Cooper kicking into Dean Rock. Fumbles the ball a little bit around, but still has it. Might have been an opportunity for a goal, but poor pass from Dean Rock. Meath intercept. Meath, they need to be quicker on the ball. They need to break with pace and really just try run at this Dublin defence. They can't allow them to get back into a defensive shell because, it becomes a problem. Cillian O'Sullivan, a little bit sloppy on the ball. Has it now, though. Racing at Dublin. Is this going to be Meath's first point of the game? It isn't. Drops short. David O'Hanlon gathers there. But yeah, half-time in the Derry Monaghan game. 2-7 to 6 points there at the minute. We're going to get a score graphic up for the Dublin and Meath game there at the minute. As well, Dublin 4 points to the good here against Meath at the minute, and they're marching forward again. Looks like a score there. And it sure is. Dublin with their 5th point of the game, and the late change who came in there, putting it comfortably over the bar. Dublin really comfortable, it has to be said, so far. Meath really haven't been at the races. You know, I know Dublin's quality is very much ahead of Meath, but I do think Meath have been a little bit sloppy at times in this game. It's a lovely point from Lorcan O'Dell. It might be his first championship score. I think he scored against Wexford. But yeah, Dublin 5 points to the good here against Meath. And it certainly threatens to be a long day for the Royals here at the minute. Who is the referee? I'm not too sure, to be honest. I have no idea. Derek O'Mahony, I think, according to the Score BO app. Derek O'Mahony is the referee, tip man. So there you go. Look like a foul there on Killian O'Sullivan. So Meath might have an opportunity to kick their first score of the game. Dublin 5 points to the good. A lot of work to be done for me so far here to really try and stay in the game. And as I was saying before, they've struggled to get scores against against the Dubs in the last couple of seasons. So, you know, confidence and all the rest has sometimes been an issue. But yeah, Derry 2-7 to 6 points up against Monaghan there at the minute. I have to say, you know, very, very impressive stuff from Derry. I mean, they've been very, very good in that game. Extremely organised. I think Monaghan maybe have only kicked 1 or 2 points max from play. You know, really, really well organised, cutting off the space, you know, not allowing much time on the ball for Conor McManus or Jack McCarron, just watching that Meath free flash wide of the post. And, you know, if Meath are going to be successful, they are going to need to score. Harry Hogan there playing in midfield almost there. The Meath goalkeeper wins the kick out brilliantly. Meath on the attack, and they take a point here. Brian Menton on the ball, looks over the bar. And it is Meath with their first point of the game. Brian Menton with the score. Beautiful score there, because just after that that free miss as well. You know, and I've said a lot, this Meath team built on confidence a lot of the time, but Dublin marching forward, they could have worked a goal chance. They put it over the bar. From Kieran Kilkenny, 6 points to 1 up now. Dublin with a quick response. A lot of space, really could have went for goal there, or really could have worked a goal, in my opinion. But Kieran Kilkenny very happy to take the score. Sharon says the legends for Dublin need to come back to the team. Well, we certainly need, you know, a lot. I mean, there are a lot of legends already in the team, but a lot of retirements and recent seasons. You know, new team, all the rest. But look, so far 6 points to 1 up here. Dublin will be very happy. You know, the only kind of issue they would have, you know, if Jordan Morris had took that goal chance. Looks like a foul on Killian O'Sullivan. This should be a score from Jordan Morris. Killian O'Sullivan, was it a foul? Not really, in my opinion. Looked a little soft there. A little soft. But big kick now for Jordan Morris. I think might have been him or Harry Hogan on the last one, but big kick in front of Hill 16. Very much needs to go over here for Meath to just stick into the game, bring it back to 4. Jordan Morris makes no mistake, puts it over the bar, and Meath trying to stick with the Dubs here at the minute. You know, if they can get a purple patch like they did, you know, last year, they'll live in hope. They'll live in hope. But Dublin, you know, Meath have had to work very hard for their scores, in fairness, you know, and for Dublin, it has been quite easy for them to open up this Meath team at times. Yeah, just watching the second half about to get going in the next couple of minutes. Derry 2-7 to 6 points up there. If you could smash the like button, if you're new to the channel, if you could subscribe, be much appreciated. Very close to 3,000 subscribers, so if we could hit that soon, that would be absolutely fantastic. That'll be brilliant. Be very much appreciated. And yeah, I'll be doing a number of more watch-alongs as the year goes on for the Leinster final, all the rest. So absolutely. Meath on the ball here now. Good. They win the kick out. Just starting to come into the game a little bit more now in the last few minutes. This Meath side. You know, they're just looking a little bit more confident now that they've kicked those opening 2 scores. And if they can get the next one, it just all of a sudden makes the game a little bit more respectable, you could say. It's an effort on goal there, wide of the target there from the wing back there, marching forward. James McEntee, I think it was, there on the ball. Dublin have been, you know, able to run through. I mean, Meath's midfield has been non-existent in this game, really, to be honest. I mean, it was a lovely score from Brian Menton, don't get me wrong, but Dublin have been able to play through Meath very easily at times, and that would certainly be a worry if you are a Meath supporter at the minute. Kieran Kilkenny on the ball now, gives it to Dean Rock. Dean Rock, a little bit of a hospital pass there, hospital ball, and Meath are able to intercept. That's a couple of turnovers now. Meath have got in the half-back line. That will give them a bit of confidence. And Meath just knocking the ball around a bit more now, just looking a little bit more sort of in the game. Ronan Jones now on the ball, running at Tom Lahiff. Plays it off. Can Meath get something out of this? Space opens up here for number 14. He looks like he's put it over the bar. He sure has. Is that Jack O'Connor? I think it is. Or Thomas O'Reilly, actually, as a matter of fact. So Meath bring it back to a 3-point game. And that was definitely much better for Meath. They opened up a bit of space. And O'Reilly takes the score, brings it back to a 3-point game. And Meath are still alive here. They are still alive in the game. Back to a 3-point game. Can they get a turnover here? Lovely bit of work there from Cormac Costello. And Costello surely must score. He does. It's a brilliant point there from Cormac Costello. Roasted his man inside and out there. Turned them inside and out. Puts it over. A bit of a balloon shot, but it did go over the bar. 7 points to 3. You could see the Meath cornerback there. Ronan Clark, I think is his name. Yeah, he got absolutely turned inside and out there by Costello. Noel Murphy says Dubs need a very strong performance today and a convincing win. They sure do. They sure do. You know, obviously a very convincing win against Wexford. But look, so far I've been fairly happy in terms of attack. I mean, look, we know the defensive issues are certainly there, obviously, with the injury to Davy Byrne and obviously no Evan Comerford. You know, a couple of new lads in there. The system I would certainly have questions about. But, you know, whether this Meath side have it in them to really cause that Dublin defence too many problems, I'm not sure. But here comes Owen Merchant, you know, marching forward there, plays it into Dean Rock. Dublin just calm in possession, really. What I do like about Dublin here, though, is we are a lot of kick passing here. And a lot of variation in the play. Kieran Kilkenny marches forward, puts it over the bar. Lovely, lovely score. Conor O'Callaghan, actually, as a matter of fact. Lovely score, 8 points to 3. Dublin build up a 5-point lead now in the game. And yeah, you know, for Meath, it's the problem is Dublin have just looked really up for this one. They really do. And they're marching forward again. And that probably is going to be a score, is it? Just about creeps in there from Kieran Kilkenny. 9 points to 3 now. Did it go over the bar or was it what? Yeah, it did go over the bar. Brilliant point from Kilkenny. And yeah, Meath are struggling. I mean, we're not getting a look at the replay, but it does look like Meath are struggling from their own kickouts here at times. Dublin have won a lot of kickouts in a row. Looks like they're going to win another one again. They do. Brian Fenton's on it now. And the problem for Meath is when Dublin have the ball, they're just running straight at them, you know, creating so much opportunities for scores, getting it into Costello, getting it into Dean Rock. And Meath have certainly had their fair share of defensive issues as well. James McCarthy riding forward, and that is a wonderful point from James McCarthy. Dublin are an absolute dreamland here at the minute. I mean, they are giving an absolute barnstorming performance here. That is a wonderful score from James McCarthy. 10 points to 3. 3 points in quick succession. We haven't even played 20 minutes. Dublin are already into double digits. And this has been a very, very good performance so far from Dublin, and it's very quickly getting away from Meath, who've had to work very, very hard for scores. They're on possession now, but they need to get the next point. They really do, because if they don't, it's it's almost at that stage now where you're almost thinking this is nearly game over. All it takes is a Dublin goal. Meath marching forward there. That looks like a brilliant score there, and it really was. Lovely, lovely, well taken point there from Jack O'Connor. And as I said before, he's been a player who's been making a bit of waves this season for Meath since coming into the side, and that was a really well taken score. I have to say, this has been a good game so far, even from a neutral perspective. Meath kicking some very nice scores at times. Dublin doing the same. It's been far too easy though, and for Dublin to kick scores. Like Meath haven't been tight enough marking at all. And just as Meath got back into it, or maybe not back into it, but kicked the score, Con O'Callaghan goes down the other end and scores. And this is nearly like a hurling match here at the minute. I mean, the scores absolutely left, right, and centre. Sean says, what's the score? Dublin 11 points, Meath 4 points there at the minute. Derry lead Monaghan 2-7 to 6 points. That game is half time. Shane says, let's be honest, we can say it's as good as game over. Yeah, I don't want to be too disrespectful to Meath, but it's the way Dublin are playing at the minute. It's going to be very, very hard for them. Sir Klopp says Dublin are back in business. Don't think they'll get past a semi though, an All-Ireland semi-final. I presume you mean there. Yeah, look, it'd be tough. It'd be tough, but the thing is though, like, that qualifier draw tomorrow is going to be very interesting, because if Mayo gets their own, that's one of them gone. So it depends really. This depends really. But the way they're playing at the minute here, like just the variation in attack and how quick Dublin have been moving the ball. I know Meath aren't a great team, let's be honest. So it's a hard one to judge. And I know you've seen that early Jordan Morris chance where Dublin looked a little bit vulnerable. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. A couple of people asking what channel it's on. Derry Monaghan is on BBC 2, I think, or BBC 1, one or the other. And yeah, Dublin Meath on GAA Go. So I think it's like a tenner or something like that. But yeah, here we go. Dublin on the attack again there. I think that was a wide ball, but I think the referees called it back for a 45. Dublin 11 points to 4 up here at the minute. Sean says, I think Kerry will win the All-Ireland. It's on BBC Northern Ireland. Yeah, BBC NI right there to watch the game. Yeah, look, Kerry are looking as the favourites at the minute. Make no mistake about that. The question will be with Kerry is, when the going gets tough in a semi-final or a final, because they're not going to walk the All-Ireland. They're going to have a tough moment at some point, but it will be interesting to see, do they have it in them? But I have been very impressed with this Dublin performance so far, though, and it does give me a lot of confidence that maybe Dublin might, they might just be in with a chance here. But they definitely need to keep up this level of consistency of performance. And there are, as I've said 100 times already, when we come up against a better team, we'll know a lot more. And a quarter final, not All-Ireland quarter final is probably, and obviously against Kildare, I'm sure Kildare will give us a run for our money as well. But the problem they're having here at the minute is their defense is almost, their midfield is almost non-existent at times. Fenton and Lahif doing a lot of work. Meath struggling with their own kickouts, and Dublin just look very well set up defensively as well. They're getting a lot of men behind the ball. When Meath have the ball, and it's just Meath are struggling really to break through that Dublin side, you'd have to say. Just waiting for the second half to start here. Surely it's been 15 minutes for half time already for Derry Monaghan. Here come the Derry side. Just waiting for the second half to get up and running for That one, Derry looking very good at the minute for an Ulster final. 2-7 to 6 points in the good. Very well organised defensively. Brilliant on the counter-attack. And Rory Gallagher, his masterclass of a team, is looking very good. Meath with a wide ball there. From Ronan Jones there, sending the ball in. A little bit of I see the problem is for Meath, it's one of them where they need, you're always going to make mistakes in a game, but against this Dublin side, you especially when they're playing like this, you need everything to go right. And there's a ball into Dean Rock. There could be a chance for Orcon O'Callaghan. Surely he was pulled back there. That's going to be a free in. I was thinking maybe it could have been a penalty there for a minute, but maybe it was outside the box. Sean says, if Dublin win the All-Ireland, will they be the first team outside of Division 1 to win the All-Ireland? I'm not sure. I am not sure on that one. I don't think so, to be honest. I doubt it. I'd say there has been teams in Division 2 that have won the All-Ireland or been relegated in the same season, you could say. Sir Klopp says, unless Kerry get taken out in a quarter-final, then Dubs won't win, Sam. It'll be tough, all right. Obviously, Dublin and Kerry are fixed for a potential All-Ireland semi-final, but it will depend on sort of how it works as well. It'll depend on what other teams are in the semi-finals as well. But most likely, you would have to say, just Dublin on the attack here very quickly. Is this going to be chance for a goal, goes over the bar? But you would say, there's going to be no other team in Munster in those semi-finals. There's probably going to be no other team in Leinster. Let's be realistic there. So, yeah, but see, the only thing is, if it gets tough for Kerry, I could see Dublin turning them over. I really could. But a lot of if, buts, and maybes. Obviously, we'd have to wait and see between now and then. Shane says, who's going to beat us in a quarter-final? Bar maybe Tyrone if we get them. Monaghan kicking a score at the start of the second half. They obviously need a big second half. Dublin are really running away with this. I took my eye off the screen there for a minute just to keep the eye on the Derry Monaghan game, and they're 14-4 up now, so 10 points to the good after 27 minutes. I don't know what it is about Dublin when they play Meath as well, but we always seem to turn up for against Meath. We just always seem to turn up against them. Sometimes sometimes when we play, your Westmeads or your Carlos or whatever, we might have an underwhelming performance, but against Meath, we just always seem to turn up. Here they go on the attack. I think Meath need to kick a point. They're trying to work a goal, but they just need to take a point here. And they do. Goes over the bar. Good score there from Brian Menton again, who has been Meath's probably their biggest threat going forward at the minute. 2 points in the game from him. And it's been a struggle from a Meath perspective so far in this game. Just 5 points in the game. Yellow card for Benny Heron there in the game. Be interesting to see what that was for. There's just so much going on everywhere. You take your eye off one screen, you need to look at the other. There's just far too much going on everywhere. I really wish both of these games weren't on at the same time. And Monaghan kicking a wide there from Conor Boyle, I think it was. So stays as a 7-point game. Interesting thing about Monaghan, though, as I've said before, I always think they're a better team when they're chasing a game. So I do think they'll cut into this lead a little bit. We're just after seeing an outrageous point there from Dublin, but I'm not too sure who scored it. But yeah, 15 points to 5 now. As I said, Dublin with 15 points after half an hour. I mean, this is, if Meath aren't careful here, this could be Dublin could end up kicking 30 points here. And Con O'Callaghan races through. Was he dragged back? Has the referee called a penalty? He has. Con O'Callaghan fell there. The Meath defender with hands on his head. And this is well and truly game over now, isn't it? Fell there from Conor McGill, I think it was. And Dublin with the penalty. Dean Rock, you'd imagine, will be stepping up to take this one. You'd imagine he'll put it over the bar, or put it in the back of the net. Hopefully, he doesn't put it over the bar. Otherwise, things have not gone according to plan. But it's getting quite worrying for me at the minute, because it looks like this is going to be quite a long day for the Royals. And there may be some Meath folk who might take the early train home at half time. Dean Rock puts it in the back of the net. Harry Hogan came very close to it, to be fair. Very, very close to saving it. It went the right way, but it does end up in the back of the net. Lovely penalty from Dean Rock. Just didn't get to it quick enough there. But yeah, Dublin with a 13-point lead in this game after half an hour. So this is over. And yeah, for Meath fans watching this, I mean, it's just a shame, really, that it's got that this great rivalry that was Dublin and Meath has got to this. I mean, like, Dublin have been excellent today. They've been brilliant. They've been outstanding. And it's hard. I don't think Meath have been terrible or anything like that. But Dublin have just been really, really good. And, you know, sometimes you just have to give the other team credit. Sean says, who do you think will win the Tailteann Cup? Yeah, it's a hard one, really. I would say between Westmeath and Cavan, maybe. I think Cavan's a weird one, though. Like, because sometimes when they were in the league against lesser teams, and sometimes when they play lesser teams, they sort of flatter to deceive a little bit, and they can, you know, they rarely put teams away like they did against Antrim. But I would look at Cavan, given their performance against Donegal. They are the best team in that competition, in my opinion, and they should be winning it. But I do think Westmeath could come close. Offaly won't be too far away either, but the problem, I mean, that was a big loss for them against Wexford. So yeah, but I will do a Tailteann Cup predictions video at some stage in the next week, once we know the draw and we can kind of gauge it a little bit. Poor miss there from Meath from a 45. They really need them to go over, really, to stay in the game. Jack says Meath are shocking. Yeah, it's just not been good enough from Meath. And also, I know a lot of, you know, you obviously had Andy McEntee, who was on the Sunday game a couple of years ago with Pat Gilroy, and that was certainly probably one of the worst moments of television in the history of RTE, in my opinion, because Pat Gilroy was waffling on for about 15 minutes, and then Andy McEntee looked like he was lost and just somehow ended up there and didn't know how he was there. You know, but talking about the Dublin resources and Dublin this, Dublin that. And yeah, fair enough. You know, Dublin obviously do have a much bigger population than Meath, and they play in Croke Park, which is home stadium, all the rest. You know, we know the benefits that Dublin do have, but that doesn't explain, for me, like, that doesn't excuse how bad Meath have really been in the last, like, 5-6 years, you know, especially their senior team. Like, Meath are a big footballing county, third most All-Irelands out of any team in the history of the competition. So as much as Dublin have been very, very good and brilliant, like, Meath have been very poor, and there are counties with much less resources doing far better than Meath, you know. So that's what I would say about that. Noel says, when are Mayo playing next? I'm not sure. Maybe it might be next. I presume the qualifiers are going to be next weekend. I don't know. Obviously, the qualifier draw is going to be tomorrow. So we will know a bit more then when the qualifiers happen. Dublin extend their lead to 116 to 5 points, and this is an awful pounding that Meath are getting here at the minute. An awful drabbing. 14 points down as we approach half time. Monaghan bringing the game back to 5 points there. Derry yet to score in the second half after 10 minutes. Monaghan starting to win a bit more kickouts there by the looks of things. And if Monaghan can eat into that lead, so this is the thing about Derry is just, they don't have experience of seeing out. And I know the word experience gets thrown around more than, whatever you'd want to say, but they just don't have that experience of coming through these kind of games, So obviously they beat Tyrone, but that was Tyrone with 13 or 14 men. So be interesting to see what happens there. Shane says as well, the back door is going to be very interesting. It is going to be very interesting, and I'm very excited for the qualifiers actually, and very glad that they are back. Because there's extra games, there's more games to talk about, it's more games to discuss. Whereas obviously last year when we didn't have any qualifiers, you'd be down to 8 teams at this point, and half of the country's season would be over. So you've got the Tailteann Cup in there, you've got qualifiers as well. So yeah, Derry kicking their first score of the second half, and Emmett Bradley, who must have come on at halftime, kicks the ball over the bar there. Lovely point from Derry, who build up a 6-point lead now in that game. Dublin playing an absolute exhibition of football, and that is an outrageous point from Brian Howard. I mean, look, Meath have been very poor in the last couple of years, make no mistake about that, but Dublin have just been very, very good in this game, like really good. Like they've kicked 117 in the first half. I mean, this is outrageous. Half-time in the game, Dublin 117, Meath 5 points. It's a worrying state of affairs from a Meath perspective. They've been absolutely steamrolled by 15 points, and Dublin beat Meath, what was it, by 22, 23 points in 2020, which was Dublin's biggest ever win against Meath in senior football championship history. They could beat that today. They really could. Meath can certainly play a lot better. A couple of passes have gone astray. They've been struggling from their own kickouts. They've just been struggling to get forward. They just don't seem to be at the pace of the game. Conditioning wise, fitness just doesn't seem to be there whatsoever. So yeah, worrying state of affairs from a Meath perspective. Dublin finished the game against Meath in 2020 with 321 on the day. They're going to get more than 21 points in this game, make no mistake about that. But it's very, very worrying indeed, isn't it? Like, what was that? That was just counting that result off the top of my head there, like a 21 point victory. I think Dublin could beat Meath by more this time around. So there we have it. Noel says ref needs to blow the final whistle, is what Noel is saying there. Dubs fan says Meath may as well just give up on having a senior team. Worst performance I've ever seen. Yeah, they just don't look at the races at all. They don't look, just defensively, they're not getting tight enough. And I don't know if like if it's just a lack of quality or what's really going on there. It's a strange one. Like I think Dublin have been really, really good. I don't think Meath have been as poor as the 2020 or 2019 final, but then again, it probably couldn't have got much worse. Their performances in those games. So yeah, they've just there's a lot of teams that can stick with Dublin that'll they might get beat by Dublin, but they'll go down trying, they'll go down fighting. This Meath team, in my opinion, just lacks personality or character, or sometimes you don't want to. It was something that Roy Keane, I remember, said on the telly a while ago, and he was talking about Man United and their downfall, and he was talking about you don't want to, be starting fights or anything like that, but sometimes you just need to hit a man or something just to sort of, bring up the occasion or sort of bring up the intensity, just get a bit of spark there. That seems to be lacking in this in this Meath team. Sean says, "Are you not watching the hurling?" I'm not at the minute, no, because you've got Derry, Monaghan, and Dublin Meath on at the same time, so a lot of games on at the one time. But Monaghan are going well here at the minute. They've kicked 3 points without reply. They've brought it back to a 3-point game. we'll shift our attention more towards that game now that Dublin Meath is half time. But yeah, look, Derry just 1 point in the second half, but here they go breaking with pace again, marching forward. Are they going to create a goal chance? It looks like they are. Oh, it's gone wide. That was a huge opportunity there for the Derry fullback running forward. I'm not too sure if he put it wide or Began made the save, but again, Derry so direct and he goes all the way. Monaghan struggling to get back there. Goes all the way. A brilliant save by Rory Began. More so just straight at him, to be fair. Probably needs to put that either side of the keeper and it's the back of the net. But good save by Rory Began. That could be a huge turning point in the game because if that goes in, it goes back to 6 points. But at least they will get something out of it here. The ref has actually called it back for a foul, so much closer to goal. So Derry 4 points to the good now against Monaghan. They are about 20 minutes away from their first Ulster final since 2011. Jack says, what you make of Kilkenny versus Dublin last night? To be honest, I didn't watch it because I was out in the pub watching the FA Cup final, so I didn't see it, to be honest. It was on one of the TVs. I was keeping an eye on it, but yeah, like that was very much as expected. That's just how Dublin's games against Kilkenny have gone in the last 6, 7, 8 years since we beat them in the championship. Like Dublin seem to be able to beat Wexford. We seem to push Galway, beat Galway from time to time. We seem to be able to push a lot of teams and give a lot of teams a good game. But for whatever reason against Kilkenny, they just have an awful habit of beating us very comfortably. But look, I think they are through very much at this point. Obviously, Wexford's draw with Westmeath was a big shock. So they should be getting out of the Leinster Championship, and that was the main thing, anyways. Shane says back level now in relation to the game between Limerick and Clare. The last 15 will be brilliant. Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch that one later on, I think. Maybe after I finish up this stream, I'll probably go and watch that and maybe do a reaction to that game as well, because it sounds like a very entertaining game by the sounds of it. And I think Clare, if they could beat Limerick, that would be a big statement. It might be the round robin, and Limerick have already won 3 games, so maybe they're taking the foot off the gas. All the rest, they're already in the Munster final. But for me, still a big statement. But it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that one. Cheers very much for keeping me updated and keeping me in the loop. Baby Girl Film says, who won the Dublin match? It's halftime at the minute. Close enough game. Dublin just the 15 in front. So, it could be worse if you're a Meath supporter. It could be like 2020. But yeah, not too good from a Meath perspective there at the minute. Derry with a 4-point lead in front of Monaghan. Derry just need to keep themselves in the game. Referee calls it back for a free. So you would expect Monaghan to bring this back to a 3-point game. David Goff, obviously the referee in the Derry Monaghan game, a Meath man himself. Not short of a bit of controversy himself down the years. Be interesting to see. Is there any talking points to come out of this one? Sir Klopp says, is the Tailteann Cup an open draw, or do Division 4 teams get home advantage versus Division 3 teams? Also, when is it? I'm actually not 100% sure on the structure of it, to be perfectly honest. I believe it's an open draw, and I believe it's knockout as well. They're not doing like group stages or anything like that, which I think they should have done, because it would have guaranteed counties 3 games, at least 3 games. But I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Qualifier draw is tomorrow as well, I believe. Tomorrow morning, I think. So be interesting. We're keeping that one on as well. Noel Murphy says, not to disrespect Meath, and as you touched on, they are not the Leinster powerhouse and rivals they once were, but Dublin winning convincingly today would indicate they are returning to good form, is what Noel says there. Absolutely. absolutely. I mean, a really, really good performance from Dublin so far. I mean, obviously, if you're kicking 117 and a half, something's after happening in the Derry Monaghan game there. There was a player on the ground, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, Monaghan obviously kicking a point there. So back to a 3-point game. But yeah, Dublin very much back to good form there at the minute from their performance in the first half. Carrying on that form from the Wexford game, and there just seems to be a lot more urgency, intensity in their attack that wasn't there in the league. I'm not too sure why that was. I'm sure Dublin didn't get relegated on purpose. So a strange one, but they have shown a lot of energy, a lot of movement, and having Con O'Callaghan, Owen Merchant back in the team makes a big, big difference. So yeah, the only thing is Dublin's defense hasn't been tested at all in this game. Jordan Morris had one chance, I think in the 3rd or 4th minute, completely roasted Mick Fitzsimons. 1v1 with David O'Hanlon, but put it wide. That was a big opportunity, big moment in the game. It wouldn't have made a difference. I still you still expect Dublin to kick on and still have a comfortable lead at half time. But maybe if that goes in, Meath have a bit of a purple patch, or, have a bit of confidence about themselves, all the rest, that way. So Talchin is group of 8 northern teams and 9 southern teams. That's right, actually. Yeah, they're gonna have I have no idea why that is, to be honest. I don't understand that at all. It makes no sense in my opinion. Because you're just going to have a lot of counties playing the same games, Leinster teams playing Leinster teams, Munster sides playing Munster teams, so a lot of the same games really. So it just, it doesn't really make sense. It should just be an open draw. Like, I don't understand why it shouldn't be, a bit of a strange one really, in my opinion. Noel says the phase of play where Meath got to a 3-point game, which led to the Dubs blitz of scores, reminded me of Dublin of old under Jim Gavin. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of it definitely did look like a Jim Gavin team in that first half. Anyway, make no mistake about that, because the energy that they played with, just the constant ticking over of the scoreboard, winning kickouts, pushing up on kickouts, kick passing. It looked very much like a Jim Gavin side, and maybe Desi has come to his senses a little bit with how this Dublin team are playing, because it was, they were playing too much of a running game, in my opinion, in the league, and it just wasn't working. So yeah. Meath are an absolute disgrace, not even competing hard for possession. Keeper kicking endless balls straight to Dublin players. No heart, no belief, zero hope. Dubs be in another All-Ireland final is what Emmett Oliver says there. So certainly the Meath fans not too happy with their team at the minute. And I agree, rightly so. Like, I just, and unfortunately, like, in my opinion, when Dublin have beaten Meath by very comfortably in the last couple of seasons, the narrative has been, Dublin are just too far ahead, and, the Leinster Championship is terrible, and Asher, how can we compete with Dublin when they've got Crow Park, and they've got loads of resources and all the rest, and all that is true. Dublin do have Crow Park, which I think Leinster finals should be in Crow Park. I think All-Ireland finals should be in Crow Park, it's the national stadium. But I do think, the Leinster semis, they could move it around a bit like they do in Ulster, for example. But I think the narrative has been way too much about that, rather than just looking at yourselves and realizing that, what can Meath do to improve? Because there are a lot of other counties out there that have less resources than Meath, and are pinching above their weight. Like even Monaghan, for example, like one of the smallest counties in the country, and consistently getting good underage players, all the rest. So. But yeah, Derry 2-11, Monaghan 13 points. Switched off changing the scoreline there for a few minutes, but we are back up to date there at the minute. Monaghan have definitely shown a lot of improvement, but Derry have just been very well organised in this second half, it must be said. They really have. They've been very well organised, not allowing Monaghan have too many chances. Rory Beggan racing way up the field now, playing almost as a full forward there. But Monaghan trying to run through the middle. They're trying to use Began as that +1. But the big problem is if they lose possession, that Derry might counter-attack. But lovely. No, a wide there from Darren Hughes. Stays as a 4-point game there at the minute. Banty McEnany looking a little bit anxious on the sideline there at the minute. Second half about to get going in the Dublin Meath game in the next couple of minutes. Just 10 minutes remaining in the Derry and Monaghan game. Derry looking, they're getting very, very close to a first Ulster final in 12 years. And that would be or 11 years, I should say. That would be a significant achievement for Rory Gallagher and this Derry team. And as I said before, I think they'll push Donegal, and I actually think I'd back Derry at this moment in time if they can come through this. I think they beat Donegal, in my opinion. Is Derry winning? They sure are. They are winning by 4 points in the game, and they're marching forward here again. Are they going to be able to create another goal chance? They're very fixated on goals, and they're in again here. Lovely bit of bouncing from Benny Heron, and it goes in the back of the net. And that's goal number 3, and that is surely game, set, and match from Derry. Clearly a game plan from Rory Gallagher on the counter-attack. They're not kicking for points. Their players are running off the shoulder. Benny Heron running off the shoulder on this time. Great bit of work running forward there from Benny Heron originally. Puts it into McGuigan. McGuigan back into Benny Heron. A little bit of a basketball bounce there. But puts it into the back of the net. A little bit of luck here. Deflects into the top corner. But you know what? Sometimes you make your own luck. And excellent work there in behind. And very much game, set, and match there. Derry 3-11, Monaghan 13 points. Very, very hard for Monaghan to come back from this point. And as I said before, watching this Derry side remind me a lot of Jim McGuinness. This Derry side very much Jim McGuinness 2.0. In my opinion, just a lot of men behind the ball, breaking fast with pace, and again, very reminiscent of when Donegal beat Dublin in 2014. It's a very similar type performance, and I think people now need to start standing up and give this Derry side a lot of credit, and give them the credit that they deserve, in my opinion. Both games effectively over now as contest. Derry into the final versus Donegal. Dubs into the final versus Kildare. Noel Murphy says, have to say, great tuning into your commentary. And as I'm driving for Dublin bus through the second half, I will enjoy listening in. Very good, very good. Hope you're appreciate the comment. Hope you're enjoying the content, all the rest. Very much appreciated. Derry. Look at Rory Gallagher there. He's just running around. He looks like a madman on the touchline. He nearly looks a man possessed at times on the sideline. Running around, fist pumping, jumping up and down. I love it. You know what? Because we don't have enough of that in Gaelic games. We don't have enough characters. It's all boring at times, isn't it? And you don't have much characters in Gaelic games anymore, I'm afraid. So great to see it there. But yeah. Derry 3-12 to 13 points up. 14 points now. 8-point game. Long way back here for Monaghan, it must be said, going into the final 8 minutes. Second half about to get going between Dublin and Meath. Very much game over, obviously, at the minute, as we very well know. You're hoping that maybe Meath can make it a bit more of a contest, or make it a bit more of a game in the second half. But it's going to be very tough, It's just, you're looking at it and it's probably going to be 20 plus again, Sir Klopp was saying there, when is Clare versus Limerick semi? Well, Clare and Limerick played each other already in the Munster Championship. Limerick won that on penalties, and Limerick beat Tipperary yesterday. So, yeah, Limerick and Kerry in the Munster final. James McCarthy, Dublin venturing forward straight away from the second half. And a lovely kick score straight away there, right at the start of the second half. Dean Rock with the score. And Dublin, Dublin are just cruising, really, aren't they? Absolutely cruising. That 16-point lead now becomes 16-point lead. And Meath really just need to show a bit more fight here, just to try and have a game plan. It didn't look like they had a game plan in that first half. It sort of just, it might be an opportunity here. Blazed over the bar from Joey Wallace. Dublin just a little bit lackadaisy at the back there, just with possession. Mick Fitzsimons with the ball over to Owen Merchant, lost possession of it, and then Joey Wallace with it. He was going for a goal, but it goes over the bar, so stays as a 15-point game there. Are Monaghan going to be able to get a goal or get something back in the dying minutes of this one, just with 5 minutes to go? Monaghan have a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. And as Sir Klopp says here as well, Monaghan need 2 goals, and they sure do. They sure do. They probably need more at this stage. 2 goals to level it up. But the problem is they're just not, because Derry are just so well tuned in defensively and organised, you just don't see those goal chances coming. Monaghan's best way of getting back into it might just be from points, to be honest. Dublin ripping through Meath here again. It's probably going to be over the bar, is it? It is. I don't even know if Dublin have kicked a wide in this game. I don't even know if they have. I think maybe they might have one wide in the game. But everything is going over the bar. And if look, obviously Dublin do have their issues, but I think if you're a Kerry fan, you're taking notice of this Dublin side, and they're not going to go away just yet. So yeah. When is the first provincial final? Not sure. I'd imagine it would be the Connacht final. I think it might be next weekend or the weekend after. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I mean, we have all our pairings now for the provincial finals. Obviously, Derry are, very much home and hosed here at the minute. 6 points to the good, so it's looking like them and Donegal will be in the Ulster final, and then you have Dublin and Kildare in the Leinster final, Galway and Roscommon in Connacht, and Kerry and Limerick in Munster. And Meath with the 45 goes wide from Jordan Morris there. Yeah, me just really struggling here, and I'm just watching this game, and I don't really know what else to add, to be honest, because Dublin are just so comfortable. So comfortable. Monaghan have a player on the deck here with a bloody nose. Bit of a coming together between 2 players there, Derry and Monaghan player, but it looks like he's all good, back to his feet. The thing is with Dublin, even at the start of the second half, is you would think maybe they might start to, just take the foot off the gas, slow down a little bit. Obviously it's a marathon, not a sprint. Just start. The attention obviously then shifts to the Leinster final, and obviously, from a Desi Farrell perspective, there's inevitably going to be a drop off. But at the start of the second half, there really hasn't. Like, Dublin have started the same energy, intensity. They're chasing every ball. Things are happening very, very quickly, and it's tough at the minute if you're a Meath supporter. I'm sure it is. Monaghan with a half goal chance there, but 2 minutes to go in this one. Dublin looking, or Derry looking good here. There at the minute to progress through, and here we go again with the counter attack, and they've so much numbers forward. Doesn't quite work out this time around though. Noel says Desi. I presume he means Desi. Desi needs to work on his defence for the Kildare Yeah, well, I suppose the thing is, like, Dublin's defense hasn't been tested in the last two games, and that's kind of the issue. You would have a little bit is Dublin's defense had no test against Wexford and very little test in this one as well against Meath. But they have done well. To be fair, like they have done well, but it's just the level of opposition that you're playing or that Dublin are playing in Leinster is just far different to say Derry and Ulster. Um, so it's very tough to know where Dublin's defense are at. But look, they've been excellent going forward. Huge amount of energy. Another big turnover there on the ball. A lot of energy. It really looks like it's men against boys out there. It really does. Like even just looking at the size of the Dublin players compared to the Meath players, like it looks like watching a senior team against a minor team. And that's not to be disrespectful or anything like that, but that's just how it looks out there. So yeah, but we'll see what happens. You would expect Dublin to have certainly a much tougher test against Kildare. I don't think Kildare will wilt as much as Meath have in this one. So they are on the ball here at the minute, though, trying to work their second score of the game. And they do. That's a nice point there, to be fair, from Brian Menton again, who has been Meath's best player on the pitch, it must be said. That's 3 points, I think, from him, all from midfield. The problem that Meath have had is that he hasn't, Dublin have consistently been winning kickouts, but Meath have won the Fenton's kickouts there, and that's a nice point from Jordan Morris. 2 points back-to-back for Meath. That's a lot better from the Royals, it must be said there. Derry, we're marching forward on the ball there, but 4 minutes to go. 5 minutes of injury time, 4 minutes left. Derry very, very close now to an Ulster final. And we've got Darren Hughes and Garrett McKinless just getting to know each other a little bit there. And what makes it even more interesting is that's Monaghan now in the qualifiers as well. You're going to have Monaghan, Armagh, Tyrone, Mayo. There's bound to be at least one big game. There's no way that all them counties are going to be kept apart. And even if they are kept apart, they're going to have to meet in the next round of the qualifiers. So, qualifiers are going to be very, very fascinating now. Monaghan, though, not out of it just yet. It looks like a point there from Conor McManus. And Monaghan bringing it back down to a 5-point game. But, yeah, there was half a goal chance early on there, and the Derry goalkeeper just about managing to get it. But, like Monaghan need a goal. They need 2 goals, really. But they need a goal just to give themselves a bit of hope. But goal chances have been few and far between. Dublin kicking another score there, 121 to 8 points up in front there at the minute. Dublin just way, way too comfortable there. 24 to 8 up. So game is over as a contest, but can Meath make the scoreline a little bit more respectable? Noel says here, can you put the Dublin v Meath score on screen? Yeah, we'll do once this Derry Monaghan game finishes up. We'll switch back to the Dublin score then. But this game anyway, Derry Monaghan, going to be over now in the next 2 minutes. Derry very, very close now to that Ulster final. Jordan Morris on the ball here for Meath. Meath shown a little bit more fight in the second half, but not much really. Like they're 3 points so far kicked in the second half. Not exactly amazing, but Dublin maybe have just dropped off a little bit in terms of intensity in the last couple of minutes, or in the second half. And you can understand why they're so far in front. But Derry in possession here. Be curious to know for those who watch the Derry Monaghan game who your man of the match would be. I think Benny Herron's been very good, to be fair. But defensively they've been excellent. Garrett McKinless, I think for me, probably wins man of the match because he got the first goal and he's been excellent. And Derry, just haven't allowed Monaghan much at all, really, in terms of getting in behind them. So Derry happy to keep possession for the remaining couple of seconds. Very much done and dusted here, and going to be through to a first Ulster final since 2011. And Derry very much living up to the hype. Rory begging on the ball here. Is he going to do something? It's a poor pass. Monaghan trying to create something. They need a goal, really. Even at that, I don't even know if there'll be time after that, but they're venturing forward. They take the point. Yeah, very much game over anyways. Meath showing a bit more energy in the second half. They kicked the score there. They're after winning a foul here, so they're about to level their entire tally for what they kicked in the first half right now. If they can kick this, free. Monaghan do actually have a chance here for Conor McManus. So I think he's called it back for a free, has he? McManus goes for goal. Goes over the bar anyway. So, yeah, 3-12 to 17 points. Monaghan will be missing out on the Ulster Championship, and they will be going into the qualifiers. It will be Derry who will be in the Ulster final alongside Donegal. And interesting enough, the last time that Derry were in an Ulster final, their current manager, Rory Gallagher, was in the opposition dugout because it was against Donegal, and Rory Gallagher was part of Jim McGuinness's backroom team. And Derry do the job. They get the job. They get the victory, 3-12 to 17 points. Big result for Derry. We will be doing a match reaction a little bit later on to discuss that game in a little bit more detail. So stay tuned for that. But we'll fully shift our attention on the Dublin and Meath game. Dublin 122, Meath 10 points. Cormac Costello venturing forward here. He's going to kick that one over the bar. He has. Oh no, he's put it wide. Wow, that must be maybe what Dublin's second wide of the game, second or third wide. Bit of a pitch invasion taking place at the Athletic Grounds. The Derry fans all out on the pitch, congratulating Rory Gallagher. The Derry folk are very happy, and Derry are back. They are back in business, and it's great to see because you love to see more counties. You want to see more counties be competitive. We would have a far better championship if we had more teams. And rather than just your Dublins, Tyrones, Mayo, Kerry, always being there or thereabouts year in year out. You want to see new teams up there, and to see Derry up there now. And I really do think that Derry need to be considered as All-Ireland contenders now, in my opinion, because they comfortably beat Tyrone, comfortably beat Derry, or comfortably beat Monaghan. But just as I was saying, that they're a big chance for Jordan Morris there. Direct ball, long ball from Cathal Hickey. Jordan Morris in acres of space. Another goal chance, but he balloons it wide. Another chance, and that is what Dublin have to worry is. We've seen Monaghan do that on a couple of occasions. Kildare done it as well. Kerry, when you go directly long into your full forward or into your full forward line, like Dublin do leave a lot of space in behind there, and they play man to man at the back in their full back line. It's just. It does leave a couple of vulnerabilities defensively. It does allow teams to have other goal chances. But yeah, so definitely a bit to work on there for Dublin, I suppose. Oral Ali says, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we beat Tip, are we through? Not sure, to be honest. Not sure. I think it would depend on the other game as well, wouldn't it? Waterford, Clare. Would depend on that. Could very well go down to score difference. Yeah, it could go down to score difference. It really could. I think it's going to be very interesting. Noel says it's a dark day for Meath football. Yeah, they've had a lot of dark days, unfortunately, in the last couple of seasons in the Leinster Championship. I mean, this is just becoming a regular occurrence, and Dublin are venturing forward here. And I think Kilkenny's put that wide, has he? No, he hasn't. He's put it over. Dublin could have worked a goal chance there, to be fair. Like, they had options. And I do think Dublin have, probably took their foot off the gas here in the last 15 to 20 minutes or so, because they don't need to be at their best now. Like, they're in autopilot, really. 16 points in front. Game is over. Contest is very much over. And yeah, and I just hope from a Meath perspective, that Meath fans and the mainstream media, all the rest, discuss, Meath being poor, again, and how much they've regressed as a county, because for me, there's been way too much emphasis put on the whole Dublin dominance discussion and all the rest, which is a discussion, most certainly, and a lot of the points are very valid, but sometimes you just need to look at yourself, and if you don't have your own house in order, then how are you know what I mean? So yeah, but Dublin looking very good there. 123 to 10 points up, as I said, 16 points to the good. And yeah. Oral Ali says, they said on RTE, if two teams are level, it's head-to-head. If three are level, it's point difference, and we have the better of Waterford on head-to-head. Well, yeah. Well, I guess there you go. Yeah, I didn't see the full-time score of the Clare Limerick game. I suppose it would depend as well if if Clare were to get beat, or I think Clare have played all their games now, have they? Or do Clare still have to play Tipperary? Maybe, I'm not sure, but yeah. So Clare and Limerick finished as a draw. So yeah, I think you'll be good then. If you beat Tipperary, you'll be through. And Waterford will be out. Wow, even if Waterford win. Because Waterford are only on 2 points as well. So crazy how much things can swing. I mean, Cork would have been out of the championship if they didn't win today, I'm pretty sure. And now they've, now it's back into their hands, and they beat Tipperary next week, which I would expect them to do. Then they're through, and Waterford, who we've all seen as the second best team in the country to Limerick, would be out, which is crazy. But they've lost 2 games in a row, so it's crazy how quick things can change. Yeah, Shane says Clare Limerick ended a draw. Yeah, just seeing the score there as well. Orlally says Clare and Limerick was a draw. Clare play Waterford next week. And yeah, with Waterford obviously having 5 points as well, or with Clare having 5 points, that guarantees them, I think, a place in the next round, or in the All-Ireland series. Limerick obviously through into the Munster final. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, all right, and it's going to go down to the war. It's going to go down to the last day, and it's going to be very, very exciting. We might do a watch along maybe when that comes around. Orlally says, Clare through to the Munster final as well. Yeah, but I suppose they've a 3-point gap with 1 game to go, so they are through, and that'll be an exciting one. And Clare looking very good. They're they're obviously finished in the top 2, so through to the quarterfinals of the All-Ireland series as well, even if they don't win the Munster final. So it looks good for them. Lovely bit of play there from Kieran Kilkenny, who puts it over the bar. Dublin move back 16 points in front, really. And this is, I'd be curious to see what the atmosphere is like there. Um, because yeah, it's just a walk in the park, really. It's just not even a contest. Dublin are emptying their bench now, bringing on new players, all the rest, bringing new players in. And yeah, that's all they can do. I think Paddy Small is on there, I think. And Meath going forward here with Cathal Hickey, who's had a good second half, to be fair. Meath venturing forward, and they pop that one over the bar from Donal Keoghan. Lovely point there from a Meath perspective, and bring it back to a 15-point game. And yeah, I don't really know what it's kind of hard to describe this game now, because it's over. Like, there's really nothing. The referee should probably just end the game now. Really, I think everyone would be fairly happy if he did that. But look, Dublin have played very, very well. Obviously, they've took their foot off the gas in the second half, but they haven't needed to be fully at it. They've very much been an autopilot in the second half. Brilliant in the first half, carrying on that performance against Wexford. We're putting up big scores, and the way we have been playing in the Leinster Championship, very more sort of reminiscent of the Jim Gavin era, sort of how we play. Reminds me a lot of that. Actually, the way Dublin are setting up now a lot as well, with being man on man at the back, it's almost very similar to Dublin's way under Jim Gavin in 2012, 2013, 2013, 2014. So it's interesting. It's interesting, and getting a lot of scores. Players coming back from injury, all the rest. I think Dublin will be thereabouts, in my opinion. I'm not just saying that as a Dublin fan, but I do think we'll be thereabouts in the All Ireland series. And seeing this kind of performance definitely gives me a bit more confidence. Obviously, there'll be much more tougher teams to play, and I'm sure Kildare will give Dublin a much tougher game in the Leinster final. But we'll have to wait and see. James McCarthy on the ball. Dublin trying to work their 25th point of the game, and that's been a foul there on Tomley on John Small. And you would clearly expect Dean Rock to slot that one over the bar. Niall says, would you pay in to see that with the price of tickets? Yeah, and price of tickets is a problem in itself, but yeah, like it's not value for money, really, is it, when you're not getting a contest? And I'd say a lot of the Meath fans probably left at half time, although the Meath fans are very loyal following. I'm sure they'll stay there towards the end for the whole game to support their team and everything else. But it's just not a great advertisement, really, for the Leinster Championship, and it's the reason why the Leinster Championship isn't getting shown on TV. But yeah, Dublin 125, Meath 12 points, 12 minutes to go. 12 more minutes until Meath are out of their misery. It certainly hasn't been good viewing if you're a Royal supporter. And Dublin may just be about to extend their lead to 17 points. I mean, the worrying thing here is I think Dublin are going to finish this game with 30 points. And that is, that would be a first, Fenton might be a chance here for a goal. Meath do just about to defend it, but just look at the energy Dublin are showing in the press as well. Just not allowing Meath time to play out from the back or anything of that nature. Sharon says, I hope the Leinster final will be on TV. It will be on TV. I'm sure it will be. They couldn't not have a provincial final on TV. And look, at least with Kildare having beaten Dublin and Newbridge this year, there is a story there. There is a selling point. There is a selling point there to get people to watch the game. But Dublin are still going in as the favourites. most definitely. Holly says here, how long left for Dublin v Meath? Yeah, there's about 10 minutes to go, plus injury time. I can't imagine there be any injury time at all, to be honest. There hasn't really been any stoppages from what I know, and yeah, there's no reason for there to be injury time. Paddy Small, who comes off the bench, calls a mark, and he might be about to kick his first championship score of the season. And he makes no mistake. Dublin have been really accurate in front of goal, like very, very accurate. And that's certainly been an issue for me. I mean, issue for any team when you're as accurate as Dublin are. But yeah, 17 point game. Not too bad, they say. Not too bad. But here come Meath on the attack. And that flies wide of the post there from Joey Wallace on the attack. Even just looking at the at some of the terraces behind the goal, like you're seeing a lot of the fans starting to leave and starting to empty out. Brian Fenton goes off with 10 minutes to go. Shane Clayton comes on, so we'll see how he gets on in around the middle. Dublin they've emptied their bench. I mean, Noel Scully's come on in the second half. Paddy Small's come on as well. Johnny Cooper's come on. Like Dublin just given their panel game time here at the minute. Yellow card for Jordan Morris. Not too sure exactly what for, but yeah, just dragging back John Small on the ball there. Just 8 more minutes left in the game. Yeah, I don't really know how you'd sum it up or how you'd discuss it. I know from a Meath perspective, just you'd be very disappointed, really. Like don't get me wrong, Dublin have been excellent and very, very good and have been brilliant for large parts of the game. But Meath it just hasn't quite been there again, and I don't know what it is. They just don't seem to be tight enough marking. I don't know. I don't know what way they're trying to play it. Like it looks like they're trying to take Dublin on at times, but then at times there just doesn't seem to be much of a game plan really from them. And physically as well, I just don't think they're up to the task. Like when you look at the Dublin players, all built, big muscles, all the rest, very well toned out. Whereas a lot of the Meath lads don't look like that. Do you know what I mean? So, whether there's a conditioning issue there or something, I'm not sure. Sharon says here, I have confidence Dublin will win the All-Ireland at this point. Alex says, how's Con O'Callaghan playing? Yeah, very good. Went off on the 55th minute. He's played very well from a Dublin point of view. I mean, he hasn't needed to play well because Dublin have been so comfortable. But yeah, 2 points in the first half. Very good display in the game. And from a Dublin perspective, very happy to see him back in the team, back involved, back making things happen. But yeah. No, I'll say, why is Johnny Cooper on subs? He should be in the back line, is what Noel says there. Well, I suppose what he's probably doing is just because, because Dublin's side, or a lot of Dublin's defenders are getting older, like Mick Fitz, Johnny Cooper. They've been around for quite a long time in the Dublin defensive line. That's why I think he's putting in Lee Gannon and a few other lads, just to try other players out. Sharon says here, how is Kieran Kilkenny playing, or how is Kieran Kilkenny today? Yeah, look, he's been good as well. I mean, all Dublin's players have been brilliant. I mean, 5 points in total from Kilkenny. I mean, probably man of the match, you could say. He's been absolutely excellent, hasn't he? 5 points in the game. He's been brilliant. Brian Howard with a point, Dean Rock 1-7. I mean, all of Dublin's attack, you could give man of the match really to anyone here, to a whole host of players really, because like, you know, nearly Dublin's whole 6 forwards have scored. Tom Lahiff has kicked 2 points, you know. So I'm very, very good. Mead have a free in. They did kick a point, so they'll be able to kick their 14th point of the game here. Yellow card for Mick Fitzsimons for the foul. Just like a lot of the Mead fans in the background there, just on their phones and stuff. I mean, yeah, probably a good idea. I didn't go to this one anyway. But Mead with the chance here to put it over the bar and bring it back to just the 15 points. As we move into the final 4 minutes. Mead have been better in the second half, to be fair to them. They've shown a little bit more intent. Whether that's because Dublin have dropped off the pace or dropped off the mark a bit, I'm not sure. But yeah, they haven't been as bad as they were. I mean they weren't terrible in the first half, but just no marking really. Midfield has been cut through time and time again, and it's been, you know, this game has been over from the start, really. As soon as Dublin built up that 5-0 lead, it was over. Mead's only good chance in this game, Jordan Morris, that wide. And Dublin on the attack here. They might be in for a second goal. Paddy Small. Oh, it's an overhit pass from Small into Dean Rock, and that would have been the classic hand-palmed goal, the volleyball-style goal, but it didn't happen. Paddy Small rinses his man there far too easily. Looking to, you know, just fist the ball into Dean Rock, who would have put it in the net. But overhit pass, not the end of the world. Mead going long again from the kick. And could there be a chance here? Mead might have an opportunity here for a goal. Lovely bit of play. Is that a penalty? Nope, no penalty there. Looked like a clean challenge. Johnny Cooper now coming away with the ball. Strong challenge there. Just getting a bit feisty now between these two, and Mead have, you know, just starting to bring a bit more energy about themselves and start, you know, a few heavy challenges, all the rest. Probably should have done that from the start of the game, but yeah. Oh, red card comes in there for one of the Mead players. Be interesting to see that one again. I mean, it did look like a very heavy challenge, to be fair, but let's see. It was on Johnny Cooper. It was a substitute, Jack Flynn. Looked like a very heavy challenge on Johnny Cooper, to be fair. I'm not too sure if it was a red. I don't know. Was it a yellow? It doesn't make a difference anyway, does it? I mean, this game is over anyway. Clear frustration there, really, from Jack Flynn. Sharon says here, have you a prediction for the Ulster final? I have Derry as favourites. Yeah, I'd probably be back in Derry at this moment in time as well. I mean, I backed Donegal to win the Ulster Championship before a ball was kicked in the Championship this year. But I might change my tune this time around, because, you know, what I didn't expect and what I didn't predict was Derry to be as good as they were. I always felt like Tyrone were a bit flat in the league, and I felt like they would get caught in Ulster. You know, I felt like they would get caught in Ulster, but I didn't think it would be Derry, though. Do you know what I mean? I didn't think they'd be as good as what they have been. So yeah, Dublin with a score there from a free from Dean Rock, 127. Will they finish the day with 30 points? Which I mean, they've 30 on the score now, but, you know, I'm pretty sure this is the most amount of points Dublin have kicked against Meath in the senior football championship. I'm pretty sure about it. But back to a 6-point game anyway. Meath going direct with those long balls, and they are getting joy from it. But I just don't know why they weren't doing that in the first half. And there was an opportunity there. Was it outside or inside the box? And the ref has given a penalty, so Meath will have a opportunity here to kick a penalty and make the scoreline just a little bit, well, not make the scoreline more respectable, but at least give their fans something to shout about, because God knows they haven't had anything to shout about. And then there's a red card for Mick Fitzsimons. So the referee gives a red card both ways. I mean, surely, it's intentional body collide and drags him down, but surely it'd be a black card and not a red card. Or has he already been yellow carded? I'm not sure about that one now. I don't know. I don't know if that was a straight red or it was a second yellow, but I suppose if it was a second yellow, fair enough. Jordan Morris sends David O'Hanlon the wrong way, or sends Evan Comerford the wrong way into the back of the net. And yeah, brings it down to a 13-point game. So at least it's not as bad as what it was in 2020, 2019. And Noel says there, too little too late for Meath, and absolutely too little too late. Lovely penalty, by the way, from Jordan Morris. But and look, you've seen that with Meath, like when they went direct, and we've seen teams do that against Dublin this year. You do get joy when you start going direct and kicking into that full forward line, but they just haven't done that today. You know, they haven't done that enough, and 5 points in the first half in a Leinster semi-final is never going to get you anywhere. Much better performance in the second half, but yeah, first half really, really poor. And Dublin have taken their foot off the gas massively. I'm sure Desi will be disappointed with that red card, though, from Mick Fitzsimons. I'm not too sure if it was a straight red or it was a second yellow, because, if it was a straight red, he'd obviously be missing for the Ulster or for the Leinster final, although I'm sure he'd get it rescinded, because that's generally what happens. So, yeah, I think he got a yellow, he got a black, and then he's got a red. So he's got all the colours, and that is the reason for the red card. So fair enough. Fair enough. Just moving into the final couple of seconds here in injury time. Something, the referee stopping the game here for something, or has he called the final whistle, or something, something happening off the ball. Dublin player down on the ground there at the minute. Looks like Brian Howard, I think it is. Or it's not Brian Howard, because I've just seen him in my view. It's another red card. So plenty of red cards being dished out. Meath with a second red card. Jordan Morris. And he just, a blatant punch. I mean, why are you doing that? That is just foolish, isn't it? Pure frustration. Silly. Punches Lee Gannon there. I mean, what are you doing, mate? Get a grip of yourself. Like, that's just so silly. And Meath now, not only are they being knocked out of the Leinster Championship, but they're not going to have one of their best forwards in their team in Jordan Morris, or so Meath fans say. He's going to be missing for the qualifiers, and they're going to be missing Jack Flynn as well. So why would Jordan Morris do that? Meath, maybe going into the qualifiers, they might have got a draw that they would have feel like they could win, and now they're going to be without one of their star players. Stupid, silly, needless. Don't know why he's done that, but it is full time. Dublin 127, Meath 114. Meath getting that goal late on from the penalty to make the scoreline less embarrassing, shall we say, than it was at the start of the second half. Although 15 points, 13 points, very, very comfortable. Dublin probably could have won this game by more. Let's be honest. They really could have. They took their foot off the gas massively towards the end of the second half, and obviously get themselves a red card as well. So a little bit of bite and needle towards the end of the game, but yeah. Emmett says reports of Dublin's demise has been greatly exaggerated. Dubs fan says hard to fault Dublin, but we're not scoring goals. Yeah, the fluency isn't quite there, but look, I think did we finish with 127 against Wexford, and now we finished against 127 against Meath. If you're kicking over 20 points a game, it makes up for not scoring the goals. But yeah, very, very, very comfortable victory. Great win for Dublin. Obviously, good win for Derry earlier as well. And yeah, cheers anyone who tuned into the stream. Been going for 2 hours, so if you could smash the like button, it would hit the like button. It would be appreciated. If you could subscribe if you're new to the channel. And yeah, I will be doing some match reactions in the next couple of minutes. We'll do a Dublin Meath match reaction first, then we'll react to Derry and Monaghan as well. Might go back and watch the Clare Limerick game and do a reaction to that as well, because why the hell not? So yeah, stay tuned for more videos, more content coming your way soon. There will be a podcast out tomorrow as well to review all the action, discuss it in greater detail. So yeah, cheers anyone who tuned in, and I'll see you all later.